So, yeah, first topic, man, we got to talk about our top 10 cornerbacks, man, because we've obviously went through, I think, every position that we've talked about, and everything, or a good amount of these positions, but we know cornerback is one that we definitely need to address.
Yeah.
So, a better day than today.
Yeah.
So, how do we always do this, man? Or how we usually do this? Don't we usually go, what, 10 to 4?
First half?
Yeah, first half and then second half. Yeah, you knock out your first half, I knock out my first half. Let's get it going.
Okay. All right, number 10.
Oh, and before I mess up in the chat and type in, put your top 10 running backs here, because I messed it up last time. In the chat, make sure.
I can type it, you know what?
Oh, yeah, you type it as well. But make sure you drop your top 10 cornerbacks in the NFL. Pretty please. We're going to need your participation today for this one, especially for the next time.
Okay. Honorable mentions. Denzel Ward.
Okay.
He's overrated. That's why he's honorable mention.
Overrated.
Never scares me whenever we face the Browns.
Okay.
And Kenny Moore.
Okay.
I think Kenny Moore, based off last season, had a type of year that deserves to be in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Slot corner, though. Are we putting him in? Sorry. I'm just going to say sorry to Kenny Moore.
Sorry to Kenny Moore. Kenny, it's not happening today, Kenny. Fair enough.
Marlon Humphrey at 10.
Oh, okay.
Your boy, Tre'Davious White at 9.
Talk about him.
8, Patrick Surtain. 7, Jair Alexander.
Let's get it.
At the big 6.
Uh-oh. 6.
AJ Terrell.
I like it. Okay. That's your first set.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on why you chose and where you put those guys at and stuff like that?
Humphrey, he's usually higher up. He's a playmaker. I mean, you wish he had a little bit more, like, ball skills, more picks and stuff like that, but he makes plays and brings some of those intangibles that typical cornerbacks don't bring to the table, like the physicality, get some fumbles and stuff. He's just had a down year last year a little bit, and then also with the injury at the end of the season. So that's all. I mean, he's a staple, I think, in the top 10. I mean, you could probably have him 8, 9, wherever. It's just I'm pretty high on Patrick Surtain. And I think...
And rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a really good trajectory. And then Tre'Davious White, I think, just an overall all-around better cornerback. Yeah. Problem with him, again, got hurt last year. And just a little bit less than what he was a couple years ago whenever we were talking about for Defensive Player of the Year. But he's still young in the prime of his career. He could bounce back. So, yeah, he's at 9. Patrick Surtain, I mean... He probably could be higher if you're projecting because he's on that type of trajectory. I mean, you just watch some of his highlights.
Just watch him. Yeah, absolutely.
Like his physical tools, how he breaks on the ball. He can hold his own with anyone, like any receiver. I'm seeing him guard slot receivers, seeing him guard the big guys. So Patrick Surtain, 8, I don't think there's any question about it. And to get 4 picks, you want to talk about production, the 4 picks and then also the touchdown last year. Pretty good for a rookie. Jair Alexander, maybe could be higher too. Weird year for him with the injury though.
Yeah.
And then
he missed a lot of time, man.
6,
a lot of time last year.
AJ Terrell. The reason I have him up is because of how good his year was last year. And I don't. Do you think he's going to revert back to more of what he was in his rookie year? I don't think so because he's got that type of talent. The stats are like incredible for him. 42 completion percentage whenever he was targeted, best in the NFL. 6.9 yards per reception, best in the NFL. Second best NFL QB rating against, and then only allowed like 200 yards in coverage.
No, facts.
So, yeah, with that being the second year of his career, I don't think he's going to take some huge step back. It should only be getting better.
No, I'm with you on that, man. I'm definitely with you on that. A couple of the names, and I did have like a long list of these honorable mentions, and I was like, I'm not going to do all that. Couple ones that I did want to drop, though. AJ Terrell, definitely. He's one of my honorable mentions. Also, J.C. Horn, definitely liked him a lot. In terms of 2 guys that I would love to have on my list, I just did not put them up there because some of these other dudes right here, man. But at number 10 on my list, and I do agree with you about AJ Terrell. The other thing that, in terms of why I didn't put him on my top 10, I hate the fact he plays in Atlanta, number 1. And granted, his second year was like lights out, but the first year was the opposite of lights out.
Yes.
So I need to see what the balance is going to look like going forward because those are like 2 extremes when you talk about his seasons, bro. Like,
I think the thing in his favor when it came to my list, though, is there's been so many guys having either down years or being banged up, like we talked about with Tre'Davious White,
no
Marlon
doubt.
Humphrey,
No
Jair
doubt.
Alexander. Like, those guys traditionally would all be above A.J. Terrell.
Correct.
If they
I get
just
what
had
you're saying.
normal seasons.
Yeah,
but
because
they
were
didn't.
injured, it makes it unique. And I'm with you on that. And I did take that into context. But that's why AJ did not make my list. At number 10, I went with Trevon Diggs right here.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this is the thing, man. Trevon, excellent ball skills, excellent in terms of generating splash and turnovers. But on a play in and play out basis, he gets you killed at times because of how aggressive, because of that meter. When we talked about Trey, it was like, yo, certain players have that meter where, yeah, you know this is a tip. Yeah, you know this is risky, but not everybody is going to actually go for that play. And I tell you, man, my meter was like really low. I wasn't taking a lot of chances. Troy's meter was really high. He would take a lot of chances. But Troy was very smart and very gifted. He could make up for it all around. With Trayvon, I feel like his risk meter is all the way up here, but the rest of the stuff isn't as consistent as it needs to be. And that's why when you look at the amount of yardage he gives up, the amount of big explosive plays he gives up, it is what it is. But he's still a heck of a player. He just has to button up some of the riskiness. And this is coming from a dude that watches Cowboy games. You know what I'm saying? So
Your fam ain't happy right now.
So you man, but I've been doing it.
Or do they agree?
They agree. They agree. Like, it's funny. Cowboy fans, man, they were
harsh.
like, when everybody was talking about Diggs MVP, they were the main ones talk about, no, the heck he's not. Because you'll show that a highlight of him getting that pick, man, or a pick six, and they gonna correlate you like, bruh, what are you doing out there, man? Like, that's Diggs though, bro. So that's why I have him at number 10. At number 9, this is another guy, man. Missed a lot of time, but I'm still very high on him because even when he came in Carolina last year, I'm talking about Stephon Gilmore right here. He still played at a high level. He's still one of my guys in terms of man-to-man corner, physical. Still, in terms of health-wise, hasn't really gotten banged up too much. I know he was on the PUP list at the beginning of last season, but he was able to come out there.
I think there was some contract stuff with
It
the Patriots
definitely
going on there
was.
too.
It definitely was. But to me, Gilmore is still one of those guys that he's 2 years removed from being Defensive Player of the Year. Okay. I still don't think that he's far off of that. I just think that right now, you just got to see where he decides to implement his new services at. Because when he went to Carolina, you could see the impact as soon as he got down there. And that's my thing,
I
man.
could be wrong. I think he's with the Colts.
Oh, you're right. You're definitely right.
I could
Yeah,
be wrong,
because we
but-
talked about that. You're right. He did sign with the Colts. Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm even more excited about that, man. And then at number 8, this is the dude. He just missed. Oh, he played 10 to 12 games last year. Marlon Humphrey obviously got hurt in our game. Yeah,
right?
he tore the pec in our game, and he still had a ton of, in terms of what they were asking him to shoulder because of the injuries to their team and specifically secondary. He was asked to do a lot more, and I'm a fan of Marlon's game, even though he plays for the Ratbirds, and I hate talking about Ratbirds positively. With Marlon, I just love the fact that he's not the greatest athlete. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest guy. But you talk about a guy that's fundamentally sound, competes every single snap. Like, you have to be a guy out there when you're talking about being on that corner like that. And this dude right here, even though he may not have all these intangibles, the fact that he's still able to go out there and compete at the level that he does it at, man, I like that a lot. And I also like the fact that, he does it against top guys. Like, I don't want to see you doing it versus the number 2 or the number 3. Let me see you out there versus the guy. And that's what Marlon gives to me, man. So that's why I have him at number 8. Then at number 7, man, this is the weirdest dude to rank. And I think when you look at some of the list of how they rank this guy, and even hearing how you spoke on him and then how I'm going to speak on him, it's all over the place. I'm talking Denzel Ward. At times, Denzel looks like he should be a top 5, top 3 corner. At other times, it's like, yo, don't even mention him on this list. And that's the most craziest thing because he's going to get hit with a double move. We talk about that. And it's one of the things where it's frustrating because it's like, yo, why is it always like the same type of stuff that's getting you? But then at the same time, you'll watch him versus other teams, not named the Steelers, and it's like, yo, this dude is balling right here. This dude is having some he's putting together a string of games, some crazy performances. But then he'll go right back and it'll be the same thing again. It's up and down, up and down. So that's why I have him at number 7, even though if he could just be more consistent, I think that he could be a top 5 corner.
Right.
But that's Denzel. Hopefully he doesn't figure that out while he's in Cleveland. Maybe, he come over to Pittsburgh in, a couple years or something like that. Then he can figure it all out. But not right now. And then at number 6, man, I got Pat Surtain. even though he was young last year, this dude's still a monster. He's a true cornerback one. I would have him higher. He's young.
Yeah.
He's young. That's it. And I happen to like the other guys. I think they've been doing it longer and still at an extremely high level. So that's why I have them ahead of him. But Pat Surtain, I mean, anybody that was watching Denver tape, and I'm sure not a lot of people were watching the Broncos because they weren't doing it like that as a team. But Surtain is one of those guys where you're like, yo, he is that next guy at corner that we're going to be talking about. When you're like, oh, he's one of those elite guys. He's in that conversation, man. So for me, man, I had to have him at 6, man. But I'm extremely excited to see what he does now that Denver is going to be more in that spot. Like, they are going to have a lot more attention with Russ being out there, because that was that was what they were saying was, you know, the missing link for them guys. So it's going to be different now when you're putting expectations out there, as we've all seen here in Pittsburgh. Plenty of people could play when nobody's watching. When you put in them prime time moments, man, it's always them eyes on you. Not everybody handles that the same way. So we'll see.
The group of young corners coming in is going to make things interesting.
It definitely
Think
is.
of the guys that were just drafted, like Sauce Gardner, Stingley, Pat Surtain, and then Terrell. I mean, if you even want to throw Diggs in there. That'd be a little bit of a new era coming in here. But, I mean, some of these guys at the top are still young, though, too.
Seriously, yeah.
Actually, yeah, everyone at the top is, at least in my list, is still under 30. All right, we got, for my 5, Trevon Diggs.
Let's go.
Something about 11 picks and
boom
some of the game-breaking plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You live by the sword, die by the sword, home run, strikeout. Hey.
Exactly.
I respect it. And I'm glad that he was successful for a good amount of time doing it. Yeah.
Like, do we think he's not going to clean that up a little bit? He's young still, too. And he was able to make those type of plays.
For my family, I hope he cleans it up. I personally don't think he's going to clean. I think certain people are just natural risk takers. And
Marcus Peters was like that.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Has Marcus really cleaned that up with his game? Nah, he's still eyes in the backfield, but he's going to make some plays where it's like, yo, that's crazy. But he's going to get beat on some plays where you're like, bro, you got to be disciplined. But
still
you
had a hell of a career,
though.
though.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? Like, all pros. He won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Pro Bowls. So, hey, I got Diggs at 5. I like the 11 picks. A couple touchdowns. Marshawn Lattimore at 4. J.C. Jackson at 3.
Okay, let's get it.
2, Xavier Howard. 1, Jalen Ramsey.
Let's go. All right. Talk to me.
Howard. Really like the physicality.
Yeah.
The production speaks for itself. 15 picks last 2 years.
Put some respect on it.
Don't forget, too, going back even like 4 years ago, had 7 picks.
Yes, he did.
And it's not even just about the picks. Dude gets pass deflections, too. 36 last 2 years. Had 20 in 2020. Had a couple forced fumbles, too. Won't be afraid to get in the mix. Also had a touchdown. Like, I don't know. I think he's kind of underrated. Maybe it's because he plays down in Miami. But, like, he's a really physical cornerback, too. Play man-to-man with anyone. Hold his own. I already said Diggs with 5. Lattimore, I think he's just that steady dude with the Saints. You know, he could lock down anyone. He doesn't have the game-breaking plays, though, that J.C. Jackson and Xavier Howard have had. That's my main thing. You look at his picks and stuff, they're nowhere close to what Jackson and Howard have done. And that's also why I got Jackson at 3. I just think he's a little bit worse than Howard. 25 picks in his career over 4 years. That's 6 per year. Pretty damn good pace right there. 8 in 2021, 9 in 2020. The only problem with him, and maybe why I have him slightly below Xavier Howard, I do think Howard's a better player, but it'll be interesting to see how J.C. Jackson does out in L.A. without Belichick.
True, but he's going to have a heck of a pass rush out there that he did not have.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. I mean, he's number 3 on my list, you know what I mean? And then Ramsey at 1. Is anyone debating that? Although there are some people that are questioning him a little bit, especially with his Super Bowl performance. I still think he's pretty damn good.
Fair enough, man. I like that, though, man. That's solid right there, baby. That's solid.
Question about Ramsey.
Talk to me.
So he's like in the prime of his career. He's, I think most people think, our number 1 cornerback in the league right now.
Okay.
How do you think he compares to, like, Revis, when it was Revis' time?
I think they're both elite. I just think I side Revis, but I think they're both elite. I think Revis was a better player. I think Jalen's a better athlete, though.
Do we have one of these guys? We're talking about Surtain, maybe some of these guys that just got drafted. Do you think anyone could reach that Revis level, like even above Ramsey?
I mean, you're talking about a potential first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm
just wondering who's the guy we're saying like Island. We're attaching some fancy nickname to coming up here.
I mean, if I had to pick someone, I'll probably roll with Surtain.
He's already got a good name at PS2, I think.
Oh, that's his nickname?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope,
That's
low
pretty
key.
good.
Yeah, that's
pretty
dope.
good.
That's dope. Yes, I didn't know that, but that would be the guy for me that if I had to just spitball it. Because, like you said, we're talking Grievous. That's like saying who's the next Prime Time? Who's the next Ray Lewis? Who's the next Reggie White? Like, yeah, these dudes are like all-time greats, man.
Aaron Donald's in that class. That's who we've had recently,
Right,
for
but
sure.
think about how long it's been like
AB was in that class too.
But think about to sustain, like that's the part of it. It can't just be in it. Like you gotta be that for as long and all that other not like that's a lot, man.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people have, let's just say over the last 4 or 5 years, Devontae Adams is probably the number one, right? In terms of receivers.
Whenever Michael,
do you think of him
whenever Michael Thomas went down, that's when I switched it over. Because think about while Hopkins was in in Houston, he was still in that category. Devontae just popped, like not just popped up, but he took
his
that
last
crown
4
like
years,
the last.
though, were pretty crazy.
No, they have been, but in terms of like when we started looking at him as this is the consensus, like number one, that's only been about a 2-year thing, and even this year is debatable. I said Devontae, you said Cooper Kupp. Think about that.
Yeah, but here's I guess why I bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say any of the receivers.
Yeah.
The only reason I brought Devontae Adams up is because maybe that's the consensus number one right now, or in recent history. Do we view any of these guys in that Calvin Johnson vein?
I don't think right
Antonio
now,
Brown?
but I think they're still building to it. Like you got to think, we didn't talk about AB building like being in that after 4 years. It was after more like okay, he's in the 6 now. He's always doing it for 7. Like that's when they got. I think Devontae is on a pace if he continues it, but he's still young.
His career is weird because he was a late bloomer too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if he could do it for another 2 or
Yeah.
3 years, I mean, that would be a crazy 6 or 7
Right.
season stretch, especially
And
with
then
the
that'll
touchdowns.
that'll change. That'll have that. Okay, now we're in there, but right now he's still like in the thick of that thing, man. Cause shoot, I still wouldn't say that Devontae has court to where Julio is at just yet.
No.
And you think about what Julio did. So that's my thing. I'm like, how can Devontae be viewed there when he ain't even caught this guy yet?
Mhm.
But you think about how long Julio did it too.
I know.
He did it for a long, long
I know.
time, man. Yeah.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's what's interesting with their careers, like a Julio Jones or an AB. Like they did it early.
Yeah.
Whereas
Mhm.
Devontae, it took him like 3 or 4 years to like
Mhm.
really catch on up there.
Yeah. All right, so for me, man, list my top 5 real quick, man. At number 5, I did something different here, man. So I have J.C. Jackson, but in parentheses, I also have Trey White. And this is the thing. I didn't include Tre'Davious White on my legit list because of the ACL. But at the same time, he's not an honorable mention. If he's healthy, he's a top 5 corner to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I have him up there with the parentheses around it. So literally, it's J.C. Jackson in parentheses,
You're
Trey
doing
White for
you're
me,
doing
man.
some Deke moves on your list here, huh?
Nah, not necessarily, because it was like this. I could put Trey White up there, but then Trayvon Diggs doesn't make my list.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, I don't have an issue with it. Trey gonna be on my list regardless, but should Diggs still be included in that top 10? And it's like, okay, well, how can I figure out how to conclude him up there? And that's why I did it that way. Otherwise, Trayvon Diggs be sitting right next to AJ Terrell or right next to JC Horn or right next to everybody else about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I did it that way, man. But because with both of those dudes, when you talk about Trey White, first off, Trey White, man, I already know what Trey White is. You know, I love me some Trey White, man. Ball skills, man-to-man, tough as nails, will hit, competitive as a dog, match it with the big dogs, whoever you put out there. Like, I love that energy. But then there's J.C. Jackson as well. And we know what he's been doing while he was in New England, and even a little bit of projection of what he's going to do in L.A. When you're talking about having a Joey Bosa and a Khalil Mack in front of you, like, come on, bro. And you still got a Derwin James working with you as well. Like, that's a lot of talent. I don't feel like he had that. He had Belichick. He ain't had that talent, though. And that's the part where I'm like, man, I really think that for him, he can take another step. And you think about, man, ball skills, this dude right here.
6 picks a year.
Absolutely.
It's pretty
this
damn
dude
good.
has legitimate ball skills, man. He makes plays where you're not supposed to make plays. He's supposed to be a PBU. He's like, no, I'm going to get that. Only one other dude I see do that, and I'm going to talk about him in a little bit on my list. But that's J.C. Jackson to me, man. And number 4, I have him high because I still respect the heck out of his game, but he missed a lot of time last year. It's Jair Alexander. When he's healthy, he's an elite top 5 cornerback, hands down, bona fide. But he played, I think it was 4 games last year?
He got injured in our game.
Yeah, he missed a ton
Yeah, I think
last year. It was a shoulder
that week
injury.
4?
Yeah.
It might have been week 4.
It was a shoulder injury, so he missed a ton of time with that. But at the same time, man, whenever he's been healthy, and we've seen that, we know what that looks like. And that's the part for me where it's like, even though he missed that time, I would give you the benefit of the doubt on the 1 year. Now, this is again, because even with Michael Thomas, That first year when he missed that time with the ankle, it was like, nah, I'm gonna still include this dude. Then it happened again. It was like, nah, bro, you gotta get it back. You gotta prove it.
Did he even miss last year for injury?
Yeah,
or did he just like not want to play?
Yeah, but I don't even know. But it's just like, bro, when the last time we seen him on the field? I'm like, man, I can't keep talking about, hey, yo, what he used to. We used to. I'm like, nah, man, that's too far removed now. But at least with Jair, it's like, all right, it's not 2 years. It's just you had a season when he was hurt. Cool. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have him at number 4. Number 3, Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, this dude, you can make a case for being the number 1 corner, and realistically, like, he's like that. I mean, he's like that. I mean, you talk about the stats and all that, but when you watch him play, man, this dude, he matches up with whoever. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid of the moments. He's not afraid to go be a playmaker either. And he's been a consistent player since joining the league. Like, we're not getting crazy low. It's like, yo, this dude is here. And that's the thing I like, man. I always think of him, not granted they're different positions, but how we look at Minka, where it's like, yo, this dude is just a steady producer of like high-end play week in and week out. You just know what to expect from him. That's how I feel about Marshawn Lattimore, man. So that's why I have him at number 3. Would have him higher. It's just I love the number 2 and the number 1 guy. Number 2 is Xavier Howard. My guy is an absolute monster. He's never respected enough, especially down in Miami, but that's what happens when you're on bad franchises. But the picks tell part of the story. For me, it's the picks out of man-to-man coverage, because as a defender, you don't get interceptions in man-to-man coverage. Interceptions are a zone defense thing because you got eyes on the quarterback, you're reading routes. Oh, this pass is tipped, I can break off, I can go get this. When you're a man-to-man, you're not looking at that quarterback. Your eyes are on your receiver, and you're mirroring his route. And the only time you're going to get a chance to play that ball is right when it's about to drop in this guy's hands, and you got a split second say, okay, I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to flip this head around and go get it. Xavier Howard, he's one of the best that I've seen doing this thing recently, man, in terms of those type of ball skills, where it's like, man, how did you know to get your head around? How did you make that play on that ball? That's supposed to be him catching it on you, or at best, a PBU at best, and you're taking it. Like, that's the stuff for me where I'm just like, yo, how can you not have Xavier Howard in your top 3? Like, this dude is like that. And he ain't afraid to hit. Oh, don't think he the weak link or we're going to run at him. No, he'll button that chin strap up, bite down on the mouthpiece, and he's going to tag you. So that's the other part that I like about him, man. It's just like, man, across the board, he gives me everything I need. And then number 1, man, is Jalen Ramsay. When you talk about Jalen, we know his full body of work is insane. I think he put out the tweet where he was like, yo, in my first 6 seasons, you check mine versus any of these other guys and look at what it looks like. And it's like, no. Yeah. Now, I ain't saying you better than them dudes, Jalen, because I know that's how you trying to point it. Like, oh, I'm better than Prime, I'm better than Reeves. I get it. Accolade-wise, though, you do have a leg to stand on, though. And that's the thing. But to me, man, with Jalen, phenomenal athlete, first off. Like, the size, the athletic ability, the length of the arms, the speed, the short area quickness, does it all. Hit, can play man, slough off, play a little zone, like, does it all. And he's not afraid to mirror. I also like the fact that he talked that smack. And most of the time he backs it up too. I remember when he had the whole checklist of that quarterback trash, he sucks, he a bum, he this, he that, and everybody was pissed off at him. Oh man, wait till these quarterbacks get you. And it was like, they ain't gonna get that, man.
Ben got him.
He picked Ben. What you talking about? Stop it.
Ben got him.
He picked Ben that game too.
What was it, 500 yards?
It wasn't on him. He picked Ben. Remember that?
And then, I think, well, no. Well, here's what I'm going to say. He got the 500 yards, whatever it was, 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns in that divisional game. I was going to say wild card at home. There was that, but then also the win. Down on the road, we were down and out.
The wins matter, but in both of those situations, especially in Jacksonville, he still got a pick.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he got it in the end zone. Yeah, it was freaky.
I just remember the.
It could have, So that's my thing. It's like, man, I don't care about the wins losses. We talking individual players here. And Jalen, I mean, he got a Super Bowl ring. He ain't tripping. You know what I mean? He got him hardware. He ain't tripping at all, man. But Jalen is Jalen, man. I just love his energy, man. Like, when you play out there, man, especially at the cornerback position, like, you got to be a little psycho. You got to have that confidence in you, and he has it. But I just like the fact that he continues to live up to it as well, man. And that's my thing with him, man.
Good list.
Yeah.
We had the same top 2.
I like it, man.
For the most part, same guys on the list, too.
We've
been going that way.
And we'll do a quick recap of your 10-1 just so we can get it clear real quick.
Yeah. Marlon Humphrey at 10. Tre'Davious White at 9. Patrick Surtain at 8. 7. Jair Alexander.
Let's get it.
6, A.J. Terrell. At number 5, Trevon Diggs. 4, Marshawn Lattimore. 3, J.C. Jackson. 2, Xavier Howard. 1, Jalen Ramsey.
Let's get it. And then for me, man, at 10, I went Trayvon Diggs. At number 9, Stephon Gilmore, a.k.a. Gilly the Kid. Number 8, Marlon Humphrey. At 7, Denzel Ward. At number 6, you call him PS2, Pat Surtain II. At number 5, J.C. Jackson / Trey White. Let's go Buffalo. Then at number 4, man, Jair Alexander. 3, Marshawn Lattimore. And then at number 2, Xavier Howard, a.k.a. the X-Man. At number 1, Jalen Ramsey.